What's up, AGDQ 2022 online? My name is Jay Hobbs, and I am joined by Insert Logic, who's going to be running Cana Bridge of Spirits coming up today. Logic, thanks for joining me. How you doing?
No problem, James. I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. I'm super excited for GDQ, and hopefully I can put on a show when my run comes around.
Yeah, I am really looking forward to it. Cana is a very new game, in the grand scheme of things, and I was lucky enough to actually be able to play it recently and even take a crack at running it. However, I was running it glitchless-ish, like glitchless because I didn't know anything. You're going to be running any percent, no major glitches. Can you tell me a little bit about this category and why you find it fun?
So, any percent, no major glitches, I think is a really nice blend of movement and combat. We, as a community, have to find the glitches and categorize them for no major glitches, which is what I'll be running, and then glitched. Glitched has a lot of the massive spectacle, but also very large skips kind of glitches, whereas no major glitches is a more condensed category, with the glitches being just small ones here and there, just to smooth things out, and they look really nice. And I thought it'd be a great category to show off at an event.
Yeah, I totally agree. I actually personally am a big fan of like no major glitch type categories in a ton of different runs. And so I actually know you from before you were running Cana because you have run every Kingdom Hearts, well, every major Kingdom Hearts game, but every category under the sun, I swear. One of the best Kingdom Hearts 2 and 3 players of all time. And what kind of, was there any similarity that drew you from that series to this one at all? Because I think I drew a couple similarities myself.
Oh yeah, thank you for the introduction, by the way. Such an honor, jeez. But yeah, so when Kino was announced and the first trailer came out, me and a couple of Kingdom Hearts boys, when we saw it, we were kind of amazed because the combat had very similar elements from Kingdom Hearts 2, very fluid, very dynamic, like 5 options for one scenario kind of deal. And upon playing the game, from seeing the trailers, it filled that that expectation or that desire exactly how we wanted. When we got there, the combat was beautiful. The difference of categories offering different kind of challenges and experiences really captured Kingdom Hearts 2 and actually improved on it, in my opinion, because Kina's movement also complements the combat very well, and they're
Yeah.
intertwined very nicely, whereas Kingdom Hearts 2 leans more to combat. So I'm really happy I found Kino. It definitely was something I was looking forward to speedrun, and I've loved it ever since picking it up.
Yeah, I think it's super cool. How when routing the game and stuff, or in the route rather that you're going to be running, how much do the various powers that you can unlock come into play? Is it like nothing whatsoever? You're just kind of blitzing, or are you actually picking up, some resources along the way to upgrade some things?
So there are 3 power-ups in the game. There's 1 per chapter for 3 chapters, and we actually skip out on one of the chapter pickups, but we grab chapter 3 power-up, which is Dash, as early as we can, because Dash is like a whole new layer of speedrunning Kino. It unlocks so much more fun movement and combat opportunities.
Yeah, you
And
said dash, so every speedrunner just got goosebumps. So, okay.
everyone's like, "Oh yeah, okay, I'm on it, I'm on it." And then we have Bow, which is mandatory for one of the bosses that we fight in the run. Although it doesn't have much movement capabilities, it is a really fun combat tool, and closes the distance, picks things off from range, and offers a lot more opportunities and scenarios.
Does the parrying mechanic come into play very much in a lot of these fights, or do you have totally like better ways to take care of a lot of them?
Sadly, parrying for easy anyway is not really it doesn't have a say in the run. In harder categories, there is potential for it. There are even abilities that reward you for parrying, but because of the condensed category of any percent and it being on easy, it sadly doesn't really come into play.
Makes sense. But I mean, you mentioned the difficulty selection. This game is surprisingly more difficult than I think most people were expecting going into it. And, obviously, I'm assuming you're running on easy because it tends to be the fastest for most games. But were you kind of shocked at kind of how difficult the game ended up being when you first jumped into it?
Yes. So when I picked up the game, me and Swift Shadow, who was going to be my commentator for the run, we played on Expert as our first time. We were wanting something with a little bit of bite, we didn't want to just kind of swerve through it, but Swift and I, we got walled a couple times. Like we struggled on a few spots, and it was kind of nuts. And even in the speedrun, even though the strats have everything under your thumb, you're in full control. One slip up on a boss fight on Expert and Master, it's 2 shots, you're dead. It's over.
Yeah.
So it's very, very. It definitely took us by surprise because the game is like very, very cute looking and very like spiritual and nice. And then you play on expert and it starts beating you up. It's nuts.
Yeah, I think like even on just the normal difficulty for me, it was like, oh wow, I am like getting my butt kicked on some of these. It was ridiculous, but I
Mhm.
found that very fun. Now, I did want to ask, as we're kind of getting towards the end of this interview, just what is a moment, if you had to kind of pick out one moment that you think anybody who could get into, even if they've never like played Kana, what moments should they be looking forward to in your run?
That's a good question. I think the run in general has a lot of good moments. The boss fights, for sure, they're very interesting. It's very fun to learn about those, and the final segment of the run I think is really cool because it utilizes a lot of movement techniques that we pick up in the run, and also you have to be very quick with your combat moves to just be optimal. So I would probably say the ending 5 minutes or like 5-10 minutes is a good spot. And just little bits and pieces throughout the run. There's some really cool tricks with movement and a couple cool fights that is good to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that Toshi fight especially. I think that's gonna
Cool.
be that'll be interesting. All right, folks. Well, stay tuned because Kena Bridge of Spirits is coming up later today. We really appreciate all the support that everybody's been giving AGDQ 2022 online so far. Insert Logic, thanks again for joining me, and good luck on your run.
Thank you, J Hubs.